Bloodrayne Betrayal for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 is a 2D action platforming game for gamers that appreciate a difficult but fair challenge. The character Bloodrayne is a sexy vampire with superhuman strength and agility who's been recruited by the vampire hunting Brimstone Society for one last mission. Using all of Bloodrayne's skills, techniques, and abilities, you'll navigate 15 challenging levels. The hack and slash combat is very satisfying. There are plenty of combos for you to master, and watching your enemies get decapitated, knocked into spikes and pits of acid is always very, very satisfying. One of my favorite mechanics is the health system. Instead of having health items strewn about the levels, you can grab a hold of your enemies and drink their blood, watching them shrivel up, wither away, and die, which is very satisfying in a sort of grisly, vampiric, monstrous way. But hey, I enjoyed it. If you like dark, gothic scenery, you'll enjoy this game. The levels are absolutely gorgeous. The art direction in this game is phenomenal. The animation on the enemies, especially the big, bulky, hammer-carrying ones with the blood-filled heads and tentacle mouths, those guys are absolutely grotesque, and I take great pleasure in popping their big bulbous balloon heads. If you want to beat this game, you're going to have to learn how to control the character very precisely. Now, there is a bit of challenge there, and I can see where some people would get frustrated, but sticking with the game, getting the controls down just right, will help you reach areas in the levels that you wouldn't think you'd be able to get to. As a matter of fact, after I beat the game and went back to the earlier levels to start gathering the red skulls that I previously thought, well, how do you get up there? It was actually quite easy. I've been having a wonderful time going back and collecting the red skulls and upgrading the character. As you gather the red skulls, you upgrade your health and ammo meters. However, after about level 8, that's where the difficulty really gets noticeable. After level 8, there are several areas in the game that you may get stuck on. Personally, I ran into about 3 problem areas where I got stuck, usually for no more than 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but there was one area in particular where I got stuck for about 45 minutes. I had to set the controller down, go do something, come back cool and collected with a well-rested thumb, and I managed to conquer it pretty easily. That segment had you jumping on enemies, as there was no ground for you to stand on. You had to stay in the air by bouncing on enemies while fighting 2 flying enemies, and it was a very difficult challenge. But once I got past it, I had this great sense of satisfaction and accomplishment. Now, there are areas in this game that are difficult, but the developers made sure to put checkpoints there. And the checkpoints are these big, gorgeous fountains made out of skulls and bones. Instead of water coming out of the fountain, it's obviously blood. When you respawn at these fountains, Bloodrayne will be sitting there with her legs crossed, drinking blood from a teacup. It's really charming and just kind of a nice visual that I appreciated. Towards the second half of the game, the element of puzzle solving will become a larger part of the gameplay. You'll pick up different abilities, such as turning into a raven, so where you can fly and get to switches to help solve puzzles. You'll pick up new weapons that will allow you to activate doors and help in combat. And puzzle solving will become more prominent in the second half of the game, but it never relies too heavily on puzzle solving. It's still mostly an action game. The boss fights were very enjoyable. If you're a fan of pattern-based boss fights, you'll enjoy the few boss fights within this game. They're nothing too difficult, but the last boss in particular, I managed to see a pattern. I used one of my abilities in particular to get past it without any problem whatsoever. And I'm not going to say exactly what it is and what I did, because I don't want to ruin anything. And, you know, it's nice to figure these things out on your own. That's part of the challenge and enjoyment of these games, is figuring out how to beat the bosses more efficiently. The first 2 bosses, there's not really much to figure out, but the last one, there's a little bit of pattern-based combat. Now, once you play through the game, you'll notice that you've probably only unlocked 1 trophy, and that's for beating the game. I've found that most of the trophies that I've unlocked have been during my second playthrough. I've got about 1/5 of the trophies. I think there's about 20. and I've got 4 unlocked right now. So most of those have been unlocked after the game. After each level you get a rank, and I noticed on my first playthrough that I got mostly F ranks. Now on my second playthrough going back through these levels, I'm getting C ranks. So hopefully I will be able to do better than that in the future. But as you can tell, I genuinely love this game, that I immediately want to go through and play it again and get all the extra little items and bits and bobbles. Says a lot about this game. I think it's very well put together, and it comes highly recommended.